Good evening, everyone, from Saren's Rim. Say good evening, Stacy.
Good evening, Stacy.
Happy to have everybody here tonight. We're going to be having a good show tonight, I hope. We've got some new stuff to show you. We're going to be working on the new terrain kits that we have partnered with Things in the Basement from. They're a laser cut company, and he's going to be producing the buildings, the habitats themselves, and then we're going to be producing the 3D printed gubbins that go on the buildings, and they look really cool. I'm really excited about them. So we're going to work on those. I also have the new releases to show off that hit the web store today. The second batch of the Brood hit the web store. So we'll show you pictures of those and talk about what's to come. So without further ado, we'll switch on over to the painting camera. If anybody has a hard time hearing us or anything, just please let us know. Okay. As you can see, these are the new habitats. So the package that we're going to be making available will include two large habitats like this, and then one small habitat like this, and then you will also have a little radio tower antenna, and then a bag of the little gubbins that you can see glued on. And I think it's pretty cool. I think that they really look nice, and the price point is right there. They're going to be $15 for the four pieces, and they're really easy to assemble. So I think you'll like them. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and given these guys a base coat of the night blue from Game Color. It's a really dark blue. I actually used a spray for that, and we're gonna go ahead and I think the first thing we're gonna do is give a dry brush to pull out all the edges, and then we'll start painting the little pieces of gubbins.
Tim, there was a question. $15 including the gubbins.
Yes, it'll be $15 including the gubbins. So it's really good price. We actually have two other kits that will be coming out. The one of the other ones will be these. I'll show you. It's these little barricades. So these little barricades, and you'll get a package of 8 of those. We still haven't. I haven't figured out the price on those. And then we also have a. It's this kind of cool sphere holding thing that you put a ping pong ball in, and it makes a nice little kind of like a power node or something. So we'll have pictures of those on the next time that you see us streaming or up on our website. They're all going to be releasing at the same time. Jorg has been burning the midnight oil, and so to speak, to give us some cool stuff for our games. So I'm going to go ahead and start on these. So let me move a couple of them aside. So we'll move these over here, and we'll start with the this big one right here. So what I've added for gubbins on this is you've got this little radiator stack or antenna, whatever you want to call it. Then I've added these two kind of pipes along the side, and then a couple of little windows and grates. We've added a door and a keypad kind of thing, and then a big on this one I added a big garage door kind of thing on the back. So
Rico Suave wants to know if you can stack the small hab onto the roof of the big one.
if
Without, and then someone commented without the gubbins. Probably.
if you didn't have the gubbins, yes, you could easily put them on top of each other. I just happened to glue the gubbins in the spaces, but actually, even with the gubbins on, as you can see, you can kind of set it right on top of there, and it would look fine. I did have the idea to make some different gubbins as well. One of them being a kind of an awning, so that you could actually make one into a little market stall kind of thing. I thought that might be cool. That's the nice thing about doing the kits like this is, you know, we change out the gubbins and you can use the same base models and have some really interesting pieces. And yeah, you could easily, as you see, if I use the bottoms because they're the same, you could easily stack them. If you wanted to glue them together like that, you could easily stack them, like so. Two-story hab. That's a good idea, Rico. I didn't even think about that. Look at that. All these smart people. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the magic blue. And really all I'm going to do is try to hit all the edges with this. Kind of just make the edges pop a little bit. Give it a little bit of detail. And then what I think we'll do is we'll use some silver maybe on the pipes and the aerial. Then I'll paint the window with like maybe a green. And maybe some silver on this this grate here. Same thing with the doors. We'll use a little silver. Then I'll paint this little pad, maybe a kind of cool green or something. So I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Oh, we had a good time at Twilight Games this weekend. We were down there. We ran some demos and had our monthly Trilaterum event down there. At this point, our next show/shop visit will be on November 12th. We're actually going to be putting on a participation game at the Hobby Bunker in Wakefield, Mass. So that is on the 12th. And I don't know when the next, I know I've got to talk with the team. There was some talk about having a Trilaterum Day at Twilight again. I don't know when that date is going to be. I've got to talk with everybody and figure out when that was going to be. They've got a local guy there who's going to kind of help run events with support from us.
Tim, quick
Yes.
question.
Sure.
Is this MDF? If so, how do you seal it?
It is MDF. And all I did was a couple of coats of the spray primer. I did 2 coats of spray primer and it took it fine. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have to seal it. I know some people like to use matte varnish on it beforehand, but like I said, I didn't feel the need to. So I thought it took the paint just fine. So here I'm just going on these edges and trying to pick out the edges with this light blue, just a little bit. We just not gonna make major changes to it. We just want to bring out some highlights, like so. He's got kind of these cool designs on here. You can see it's kind of laser cut into them. So just a little bit of dry brush will really make that pop a little bit. That's the nice thing about these laser cut kits is you can put a little bit of texture on them right from the get-go. Oh, we got a little hair there. It was a hairy hair. Oh, there's a blast from the past, Stace.
Unpack your adjectives, dear.
That's right. Yeah, so we'll just hit these surfaces, just a little bit of dry brush too, just to make them pop a little bit. We might actually come in here with a lighter blue too, just to make the edges pop even more.
Question: Krylon rattle can primer? Question.
These ones, yes, it was a Krylon rattle can. Yep. It was actually a matte. They have a couple of new super matte colors, and this was the blue. It's a super matte blue that matches night blue to the T. So I use that one. I really like it. It's really nice. And it's a super matte rattle can, 2-in-1, the usual Krylons. It really does a good job. So there you go. So just going in here and pulling out these surfaces a little bit, trying to get a little color on there. Nice thing about these is you're not gonna have to put a ton of paint on them. You know, pull out the gubbins, pull out the surfaces a little, and call it a day. I'm assuming that Rico Suave is gonna do some yellows for his mercenaries since they look so good. I don't know if anybody had a chance to see him. He brought them to the Twilight, and they looked really good on the table. He played a big old 2,000 point game, which is pretty big for Trilaterum. I was really impressed to see that they played it, and they seemed to have a really good time. So I was glad to see it on the table with such big armies. I believe his opponent played Caver, which is our old mining dwarf list. We from one of our old lines that we used to have. We're in the process of revamping that line, so there should be new Caver models presently. In fact, some of the participants got a little sneak peek of some of the beta models that we had. We had quite a bit on display on Saturday. It was fun. So, just gonna go here, and I may even put some dots on those circles because they look really cool. A little bit more blue. What's out on everybody else's paint desk tonight? Hopefully you're painting right along. Yes, and we also, you're right, SRG. We also debuted a sneak peek of the new compound heavy vehicle. We had a couple on display and a couple for people to purchase. So they did not last long. And I'm eagerly awaiting to see some paint on some of them.
If anyone can hear that, our dog Elsa would like to contribute to the conversation.
Yes, she loves to sit under the table while we are doing this. In fact, if you close the door, well, then you'd really hear her because she'd be outside whining. You'd think we were beating her or something. That is untrue. Untrue, Elsa.
She's talking.
She's just talking. Yeah. All right, so we need to get some on this side now. A little bit on these edges. So coming down here. Actually, just get it on these edge pieces. We'll use this blue wasn't quite as bright as I was hoping, so we're gonna actually pull another blue on here too. So we'll use the lightning blue, I think, to really pop these edges.
Elsa, be quiet.
Quiet, dog. Okay. Just get these edges on these. And I don't know what we're gonna do with that aerial yet. We're gonna play around with that, I think. Do some color. So that's pretty good. I like that. So we'll go ahead and switch over to something else. Let's clean our brush real quick, and I think we'll get out some dark silver for that, for some of these pieces. So we'll use just the gunmetal. That'll look good. We're gonna do the door and the gratings with the gunmetal and the back door. And probably this little speaker, little thing at the front door. There's like a little keypad, a little speaker. So we'll do that with the gunmetal too. I think it'll look good that way. All right. Like the control pad. There you go. All right. Just gonna get in here. We're not getting in there all that deep. It's just sort of deep. Sort of deep.
Mm-hmm.
Medium deep.
Wow.
Because what don't we do? We don't get in there nice and, the thing we don't say anymore.
Mm-mm.
I'm still finalizing all the gubbins you'll get in the pack, but you'll have plenty to really pimp these out and make them look cool. Want to make sure people have plenty of options. I'll go ahead and get this garage door here. Everybody see that okay? A little blue napkin.
Can we buy extra gubbins?
Yes. I sell the gubbins kits separately. They're actually already on the store It's a little bit different of a kit, but it's $5, and it's already up in the online store. I've sold those for many years actually. They're the same add-on kits that I sell for the regular buildings. So you get all kinds of little doors and windows, and the one that is on the online store actually has a couple of pieces that aren't going to be in with the habitats. There are a couple of little bigger pieces that if you want to put them on the habitats, you can. They're just a little larger. There's like an AC unit and a couple other things that were meant for the larger buildings we sell. But yes, we'll have Govern's a Go-Go. Okay. A little bit more down here. In this corner here. We're actually gonna, now that I got all the corners, I'm gonna use a bigger brush to get a really good coating on the door, because it's a really big door. So I want to make sure there's plenty of paint onto the door. So actually I'll stick with the big brush on here.
How soon will these be available once you sort the gubbins?
I'm waiting to get the kits from things from the basement. I'm hoping no more than a month. So as soon as I get the kits in from things from the basement, they will be an immediate release, because everything is all sorted for them. We'll have the kits in and they'll go right up. They'll be outside our normal release schedule, even though this month's release was a little off because of all the shows. They will be, an immediate release, just because I think people are going to like them, and I think they're going to be popular. So I want to get them into everybody's hands as soon as possible. So okay. Just empty off my thing. Go back to the small brush to do that speaker. There, the speaker, and we're actually going to do the little guy next to him. There we go. Looking good. So I think we're gonna make this aerial. We're gonna use like a rust brown on that. I want it to seem like it's been up in the air and kind of rained on a little bit. So I think it'll be cool with this. It's called Red Tail Light German. It's a rusty reddish brown. Yes, the turtles that I had on hand did sell. I only had a couple because I'm still working out all the kinks of the production plates. But yes, I will have those are part of next month's release. Next month's is going to be a smattering release. We're going to have a little bit for a couple of different armies. I haven't finalized exactly what will be out, but I believe it'll be, at the bare minimum, the turtles will be released. The Draconid transport will be released. The Trolled are getting a new walker slash vehicle. And after that, I don't know. I've still got to finalize what I'm doing. I think I have one more piece for the Parisi that I wanted to get out that month too. So November is going to be our last set of releases for the year. We won't be doing anything in December. We're kind of taking December off as far as new releases go. With just the holidays and everything going on, we're just going to take a little bit of time. We have a nice vacation planned and that sort of thing. So family's number one. So we're still working out exactly what we'll be doing as far as events we do have a show scheduled for December. It's in Boston. It's a what was it called? Everfrost, Everbrunt, something like that. Everbright. I don't know exactly what it's called, but we will be at that. And if you want to meet Trilaterum Stacy, the rumor is that she will be on hand for that show. So it'll be your time to meet the myth, the legend. So we got just put a little bit of red on there. Just I'll probably dry brush it with buff just to give it a little pop. Oh, that's right. We were gonna paint these. That's right. We were gonna paint these little
Maybe
pipes.
after the break.
Pipes with silver. So I think we got time for the pipes, and then we'll break. So
Oh, Rico has a cool idea.
what?
He wants to use the design's rules with the Habs to make a droppable troop carrier similar to Starship Troopers.
Ah, that is very cool. With garage doors on both ends. There you go. Yeah, you could make it an immovable drop with no weapon. It'd be. You could even if you really wanted to get squirrely, you could give it transport 2, so it can transport 4 units. That'd be kind of fun. Drop it like you said, just like in Dropship Troopers or Starship Troopers, where they drop that literal square box in the middle of middle of bug country. So, and we do have the bugs too, so
That's true.
you can fight it out with the bugs as well. So, remember in the vehicle design, drop costs 25 points. So when you're doing your points up, yeah, do 25 for that, and then transport 2 would count as 2 special rules, so that would be a total of 15 points for transport 2 on top of everything else. But it's doable. Just gonna finish up this little pipe. I think it looks pretty cool, actually. And then after break, we'll go ahead and put the green in the windows and in the touchpad. Maybe give the that little bit of buff dry brush on the aerial there. Yeah, that looks cool. Do a little cleanup. Hey, old rogue. Okay. So why don't we switch on over back to the main cam? We'll talk new releases for this month that have finally been released. Only 20 some days late, but that's okay. Deadlines are just illusions that we give ourselves, So, hi. Good to see everybody. It looks like we've got quite a few viewers tonight. That's good to see. We're going to be giving away a couple of things at the end of the stream, so make sure you stick around. We finally got our October releases up on the web store. They're the second part of the Brood. So if you haven't seen the releases we've been putting out, here you go. So we've got the Larval Transport, which is the upper left. We've got the Giant Workers, which are the very basic Giant troops. They will be interesting to see on the board. They're not super hardy and they don't have a whole lot of weapons, but they're cheap. So I'm waiting to see the person that fields the worker swarm army with a couple of big beasties on the back. We then have the Size Screamer in the middle row left. He is by far one of the coolest models that we've put out. I really enjoy him. He harkens back to some of my favorite models from olden years. In the middle, we have the Overlord. That's the HQ model for the Brood. It's your brain bug, so to speak. The Skulkers are on the middle right. They are as you can imagine, skulking. They have camouflage, and they're really good. They have scout. They're really good about hiding and popping out when you least expect them to get in there and do a whole lot of damage. The bottom row we have the warriors. They're kind of the middle caste of the brood, just above the workers and the skulkers and those sorts of creatures. They kind of help the overlords and the queen keep control of the brood. And then we have the tyrant on the bottom right. He is the big baddie, with the exception of the behemoth. He is the second largest of the brood releases. He's huge. He's got a big old claw sword. He's got a giant crystal cannon. He's just super cool on all on all accounts. So we're very excited to have put that army out there. We had initially not really thought we were going to put the brood out, but there was quite a bit of cries from certain individuals that really wanted to see them on the tabletop. So we decided to move their release dates up. Like I said, next month's going to be a catch-up month with a catch-all of various armies getting just a little bit something. You did Old Rogue. I did not really describe the story behind the brood. They're obviously an insectoid race that has evolved different forms to be able to deal with different tasks that are needed. It's a hive mind. They're all connected via psychic pulses from the queen down to the overlords, down to the warriors. The one of their special rules is that the overlord's command range is actually larger than the traditional command range, due to the fact that their psychic powers are so great. So they're very cool. Oh, now you're just playing with me, Old Rogue. They had a British accent. Nice. Very, very funny. So, as I was saying, next month we're going to have a smattering release of a little bit for a couple of different armies. And then starting in January, we'll be back to our normal releases with, I haven't decided yet, so it's going to be a surprise. But the way that we released the mercenaries was very popular, so we may be moving more of our releases to that style, where it's a little bit of a higher price point, but you get multiple units, like the mercenaries, where you got all 6 of the units in their list for $20, which was a really good deal, I think, and I think people really enjoyed it. They seem to be liking them on the table. I think we're going to be repeating that with some of our other releases. It's also a little bit easier on me from a bookkeeping standpoint. Just 1 SKU versus 6 SKUs. So, anyway, I'm going to hide that picture again. There we go. And we're going to go back to the painting cam. We're going to try to get this hab knocked out before the end of the stream. We don't have that much to go on it. As you can see, they paint up super quick, and they look cool. So let's swap out by going over to the painting. Okay. So when last we met, dear Habitat, we had finished up your silver and rusted antenna. So now we're gonna get a little dark green out, and we're gonna put that on the viewing areas and the touch screen. I'm gonna show you my little patented, well, not really patented, but my tried and true way that I like to do windows. It's fun. Trust me. By the way, never trust anybody that says trust me.
That's my rule.
So I'm going to get my favorite darker green out. That's mutation green. It dries really, really good. I like it. So let's get the right. Sorry, I got to get the right brush is already in front of me. Look at that. Okay. So we're going to mix that up there. And go in here and we're going to paint this window. So we're just going to go in. So what I like to do when I'm doing windows and other windshields and reflective surfaces. So paint the whole thing your middle color. So I'm going to paint this whole thing this kind of middle green, okay? See how I did that? I'm going to do the same thing on this guy right here. So we're painting it all the mid-tone, okay? And trust me, there is a method to the madness here. So we've painted it to the mid-tone, and we're going to let that dry for a second. While that's drying, I'll go ahead and get the dry brush out, and we'll put buff on the little aerial up here just to give it a little depth. So we're just getting our buff out. Paint windows. Oh, yeah, well, that's what we're doing right now. So we're going to get SRG. Would any of the mercenaries be available separate down the road or any set? No, the mercenaries are going to be a single set, all one. That's how we're going to sell them. We're not going to break them out into individual sets. So that's how they will be sold. So you can get with your buddies if there's specific units that you like that maybe your buddy doesn't want. You could maybe trade with your buddy. You know, but that's how they're going to be sold. So we're just going to dry brush these. Just give this a quick dry brush on the veins. Just give it a little bit of depth, a little bit of color. Not 100% on this color, but you know we'll stick with it for now. It's coming out good. Actually, we're going to keep with this buff while we're waiting for that green to dry. We're just going to hit these edges. See how I'm just hitting the edges on these panels? And what I'm trying to do is just create just an edge highlight, a real quick edge highlight around. We're just going to do it on these the central veins here, or the end veins here that hold it together. And then we're going to do it on the tips here. Just to give it a little... Just give it a little something, something. Like that. Just make it pop. You don't have to, but I like to have just... I know it's just terrain, but I still like to have it, you know, look as good as it can. You know. Okay. Just like that. And then just on these edges here. Just the very edges. Like so. There we go. Just get that a little bit. Get the edge of this window. Oh, I hit the green. Ugh, I hit the green just a little bit. That green's a little wet still. I was a little too close. That's okay. Get it on here. And just a little bit on this. That's good. I don't know if that guy is gonna dry quick enough. I was a little. He's drying. Yeah, he'll be fine. Okay, so this one is actually dried. So we'll start with this screen. Okay, so we used a mid-tone on the whole screen. So now what we want to do is get a dark and a light. So for the light, I'm going to use livery green. For the dark, I'm going to use, it's called dark green. I'm just going to find it right here. It's just a darker of the greens. And you can also accomplish this by just adding a little bit of black to your, you know, that's what we'll do, because I still got some mutation green out there. It's just as easy for me to do that. So we'll take some black and just add a couple of drops of black to the livery green, to the mutation green that we already had out. So I'll go ahead and put a couple of drops of black there. And we'll just mix the two together. So we got our green and our black. We're basically just making a darker green, almost like an olive. Like that, see? That's good. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so when you're looking at something from the top down, here's a little light theory for you. When you're looking at something from the top down, the light is going to be brightest on the top and darkest on the bottom. So what we do is we take a little bit of this, we just take a little bit of this dark green, and we put
frame,
and we put a line at the bottom, like so. Okay, just a little bit, and we'll do the same thing on this window. So the window is a little bigger, so we'll have a little bit larger area that's dark. So we're just going to go like this. And you don't want a whole lot, just enough that it pulls your eye, okay? And when it's a curved surface like that, I like to just, on one side, I loop it up just a little bit, because it just, you'll, trust me, you'll see it in a second. Okay, so there's our dark tone. And then you're going to do the same thing with the light tone. Frame. Oh, I didn't think I was that far out of frame, but okay.
You're fine now.
Okay, so now we'll take the light tone. And the light tone, we're not going to have all that much. It's just going to be a little bit of this green. So take the green, and you're just going to loop it at the top, like so. Okay. And what it does is it creates light within the window. And I know it looks a little weird right now, but it's got to all dry and everything. So on this panel, you just have a very light, we're going to have just a very light across the top here. Okay. And then the last thing you do after you do that, I go back in with my mid-tone and I feather a little bit to make the edges so that they're not quite so dramatic. So while it's still wet, you can kind of wet blend a little bit so that, you know, your edges aren't quite so harsh. And by wet blending it means that while it's still wet, use the other tone over it, okay? And what that does is that makes a little bit less harsh of a transition, okay? And then you do the same thing on the bottom. Bottom, you don't have to, it's not going to matter as much because the darker, you don't have to feather quite so much. But do that, and it just makes it a little bit nicer of a transition. And on this guy, I'm not going to need to do much. Just a tiny bit of transition. And then, oh, sorry, yep, a little bit of wet blending, yep. Not much. This is about the only time I do wet blending.
We had a few questions, Tim. How hard or easy is it to assemble the halves? It looked pretty easy to me. So.
Extremely easy. You basically have this ring is one piece. So two pieces of the rings, and then each one of these panels are separate. So you take the rings and you place the panels, and there's a little peg. So you put each one of the panels on the peg, and you snap them in, and then these end pieces just push right in, and they sit right against the pegs, and they make it so that it's whole. So you really only have to put glue on the pegs, and then you push down the end pieces. It's super easy.
And then there seems to be a demand, Tim, where's my robots?
Oh.
Everybody wants to know where their robots are.
Well, James got a robot on Saturday, so, you know.
Just saying.
Just saying. All right, so then the last thing I do is I'm just going to take a little bit of white, and I'm going to do a single dot of white, because usually with a light source, you'd have a little bit of light coming through, and I usually put the dot of white in the mid-tone. So I'll just do a dot here, and we'll do a dot here. And then the last thing, which I won't do on camera just because they have to clear to dry, is I would just put a gloss coat over it. And that kind of finishes it off. So, yeah, this is the only time I wet blend, is when I'm doing windows and stuff. So the only thing I want to do is I got to clean up. I got a little bit carried away with the rust color. So I'll go in there with the Stormy Blue. Oh, no, not Stormy Blue. Is it the midnight blue? It's the night blue. Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm sorry, it's imperial blue, not night blue. My bad. So we're just gonna go in and I'm just gonna clean up that little bit of the rust on that area. So yeah, I actually pulled out some advanced techniques for you guys tonight. So we're just gonna clean that up just a little bit here. Look at that. Looks great. Terrific then. Actually, there was one other little spot that I got a little cray with the silver, so we're just gonna clean up the outside of this vent here, there, and then right here I got it on the edge of this speaker. So there we go. There we go. And there you have it. We got one hab done, and done. Yeah, so you guys saw just how quick that was. And it looks cool. I think it would be happy on a tabletop. I think anybody would be happy to put that down there. I would be. And yeah, for $5, the price of less than the price of a Happy Meal, you can get yourself one of these. $15 for 3. It's a steal. I'm telling you, folks. It's really cool. Yeah, we're very excited about this. So, as you can tell. So, yeah, so there you go. One hab ready to go. I'll finish the other two up and we'll put some pictures up. So, why don't we switch over to the main cam and do some giveaways? You make it look easy. That's just years and years of practice, right, Stacy?
Yep.
I will tell anybody out there that's nervous about painting or hasn't painted before, it's like anything, it just takes practice. It's something that I was terrible at, and you don't get any better until you start trying. And not every technique is going to be your technique. You'll find your niche and what works well with you, what works well for you. And I'm lucky enough that I've had a lot of time and support from Trilaterum Stacy to let me spend time painting, and it's just something that you just got to work at. And at the end of the day, you won't get any better if you don't work at it or try, you know. So let's go ahead and do some giveaways. We've got, looks like just about 12 people in chat. So let's take a peek at what we have here. Stacy, give me a random number from 1 to 20.
19.
19. SRG Turtle, you have won yourself a $5 coupon code for the Trilaterum web store. You can go ahead and just hit us up on social media, or you can email us at info@trilaterum.com, and I can provide that code for you. Or if you want to wait until we're in person sometime, I'll give you $5 off your total purchase at the booth. And we're going to give away one more $5 code. Stacy, give me another random number 1 through 20.
8.
Iron Will 13791. You are the other winner of our $5 code. So if I don't know if I know who you are, but feel free to hit us up on social media. You can hit if you're a friend of James, you can hit up James, or you can send us an email and I'll give you the $5 coupon code. So I appreciate everybody's support tonight. We had a lot of people in chat, and that was really great to see. So I thank you all for coming, and say goodbye, Trilaterum Stacy.
Goodbye, Trilaterum Stacy.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.